The monster had torn into my stomach and was slurping up my blood and guts. I killed it, but I was still bleeding out on the tile, thinking of Brian and Lily until a white rabbit with 9 foxtails opened its crimson heptagram eyes and asked, would I make a contract? There are 2 kinds of people in this world, those who run, and those who die. I used to be the first. But one glance back, and I became the appetizer on a monster's menu. Run! I yelped at Brian, my voice cracking even as I readied my makeshift scythe for a swing. The monster managed to take a step forward only for the messily unwinding net to entangle it. Its legs caught in the various layers of webbing, and it tripped forward, crashing to the ground. As it did, I grabbed my weapon with both hands and swung down. The head of the ice axe smashed straight into a piece of carapace and then threw it into flesh. I felt the squish of meat being punctured through the broom pole, and I suppressed a shudder. The thing let out an undulating hiss of pain, spitting gray slime over the ground as it tried to stand, only for its legs to get further enwrapped in the net. I pulled up on my scythe, drawing it out from the monster, and sending an arc of black ichor onto the wall and ceiling. Then I swung down again, and again, and again. The ice axe punctured through the thing's body a half-dozen times before the creature finally started tearing through the net with its claws. I pulled my scythe back, fear sending a shock of lightning through me. I had to aim for the head if I wanted to kill the thing before it got free. I adjusted, aiming for half a second before swinging down the scythe again, aiming directly at its head and neck area. There was a sudden blur, and the monster's serrated tail whipped up and wrapped, then it pulled with unnatural strength, and my scythe went flying. I stumbled backwards, reaching behind my head and grasping the ice axe that was sticking out of my backpack. My fingers were slick with sweat and slipped around the thing, unable to find a good grip. Cursing, I pulled off my backpack and ripped the axe clear, tossing my pack to the side. Before I could flip the axe around to grab the handle, there was a ripping sound as the monster tore itself free from the netting. It leapt at me, bowling straight into me, and slamming me into the ground. A gasp of air escaped my lungs even as my head was thrown back by the whiplash into the tile. Pain exploded through my head and back, dyeing my sight red. Somehow, I was still holding onto the ice axe, and I fumbled with it, trying to work my hand down from the head to grasp the handle. I pushed against the ground with my feet, trying to slide myself away from the monster. It stared at me for a second before it pulled its head back, opening its maw in a victorious shriek, and then it plunged its face onto my stomach. Dozens of serrated teeth undulated in rapid succession to claw into my skin, while something sharp and abrasive ripped through my blazer and shirt and into the flesh of my navel. The beginnings of a scream escaped through my clenched teeth as it tore into me. Finally, my right hand found a grip on the axe, and what felt like a serrated knife plunged into my stomach, and I screamed. Tears came to my eyes as whatever impaled me began to tear around inside of my guts. Dark edges closed in around my vision as a burning pain clawed into me. After another few churning twists, the knife-like object withdrew from my belly in one quick, smooth motion, and I gasped at the sudden sensation. I tried to look through the blurriness covering my sight, my abdomen spasming in a sharp, burning pain. I found the creature still latched onto me, its lidless eyes meeting my own. Suddenly, its neck undulated, and I felt a sudden suction as it began slurping up my blood and guts. The thing was eating me. Something inside my head snapped at that realization, and I let out a scream that cracked my throat as a whole new agony flooded my body. Panic and desperation flooded through me at the sheer intrusiveness of the sensation as my guts were sucked out. I tried to grab the thing's head with my left hand and push it off, but I couldn't find any purchase on its slick skin. I switched tactics, instead using the feeling of the monster's head to aim, and I swung the ice axe at it. The axe pierced the thing's neck, and its entire body spasmed, the suction faltering. The brief reprieve gave me time to pull the axe back out and adjust my aim. Its tail swung up from behind it, and I knew it was going to try to whip my ice axe away. Before it could, I swung down again, and the axe plunged through its head, this time directly above its eyes. The monster's entire body stiffened, going completely still. Then its teeth suddenly unlatched from my belly even as the thing fell on top of me. I could hear myself whimpering as I pulled the axe out and swung down again at its neck. There was no reaction as it bit deep, but I didn't stop. I kept swinging, stabbing holes into the thing until my arm grew weak. For a while, I didn't move. Every heaving breath of air caused my stomach to rise and fall, sending shocks of pain through me. I tried to slow down my breathing the best I could, and the pain gradually began to lose some of its bite. When it went from excruciating and paralyzing to only reducing me to tears, I began trying to slide myself from under it. The movement caused my abdominal muscles to contract, and I choked on more sobs as I forced myself to continue until I was finally free. I needed to move, and to do that, I had to assess the damage to my abdomen. I pushed my head and shoulders up off the ground to see my wound. There was a hole through my blazer and blouse on the area around my navel, showing skin and flesh scraped raw. In the center was a noticeable hole, and even as I watched, blood bubbled up from it with each of my breaths. Soft, mewling sounds of pain started escaping me as horror washed through me. Bile rose in my throat, and I forced myself to hold it down. I let myself lie back on the floor, closing my eyes. I tried to put a little pressure on my wound, but the slightest push sent stars across my vision. My weak, pain noises gained a raw, shrill sharpness to them. Even though the monster hadn't hit anywhere vital, it had still ripped through my guts. If I tried to move, the pain it would cause would almost certainly make me pass out. I was stuck, bleeding out, and there was nothing I could do to stop it. I'm going to die, I realized, and tears spilled down my cheeks. I had killed an anathema, an alien abomination, but so what? What did it matter if I was going to die anyway? I had saved Brian, but now what was going to happen to him? I'd failed in every single way that truly mattered, and Lily. God, Lily. I was never going to see her again. I really wanted to see her smile again. Something inside my heart fell apart. I let myself cry in uncontrolled, choking gasps, ignoring the throbbing pain that came with it. My sobs were utterly undignified sounding, all snot and choked whines, but I didn't care. It didn't matter anymore. Dimly, I heard the pitter-patter of something against the tile floor, and I almost let out a mirthless laugh as it grew nearer. So much for bleeding out. At least I wouldn't have to suffer much longer. The pattering steps grew nearer with an odd, hopping cadence, and it was only when I heard it stop near my head that I decided to open my eyes and face whatever had come to finish me off. At first, I thought I was looking at a stuffed animal. A pure white, floppy-eared rabbit sat near my head, staring at me with red eyes. The rabbit was huge, the size of a fully grown cat, and even as I looked at it, 9 foxtails unfurled behind it, gently waving back and forth. As I looked at the thing in confusion, I noticed that instead of solid pupils, both were black circles that held a 7-pointed star made of 7 straight, overlapping lines. Everything about it was overemphasized and artificially perfect, exactly like a stuffed animal was. The rabbit's head suddenly moved, tilting slightly as it continued to stare. "Congratulations!" A woman's voice resounded through my mind. "Your actions have not gone unnoticed. The Zenith have recognized you as being a capable fit to become a magical guardian and continue defending humanity." I blinked, completely failing to understand what was happening. The rabbit's head tilted to the other side, and the woman's voice came back to me. "It appears your conflict with the anathema has left you in a critical condition. I should inform you that if you choose to become a magical guardian, you will gain access to resources capable of preventing your eventual demise. As you seem to be losing blood and consciousness, I will skip the rest of the introduction and get straight to my one and only question." The rabbit's heptagram eyes began to glow with crimson light, and I felt a cold chill down my spine. "Would you like to make a contract?"